is doing with transfer students. It is really fun and important work. I put together a few slides that kind of just give you a little bit of introduction to the data side of Western and what we know about transfer students. I am the director of our Office of Institutional Effectiveness, which deals with institutional research issues. We have a survey office that does surveys of students and community members. And so we do a lot of work on the data side with transfer students. And so my hope is to see if I can figure out how to share my screen um, and then talk to you about what we know about transfer students. I would ask, I don't know how this has been working, but if you have questions as I go, feel free to interrupt me. And of course, I'll take questions at the end as well, but sometimes it's easier to ask as we go so you don't forget them. Uh, it won't bother me to be interrupted. So, can you see my screen? Oh,
Yes.
wonderful. So again, my name is John Krieg. I'll have my contact information at the end of the slide, so you'll be able to reach out to me if you like. And so, what do we know about Western and transfer students? You probably know some of these things already. For instance, Western offers bachelor's, master's, and we have some new doctoral programs in audiology and education leadership. Our enrollment is just under 15,000 students, and just under 14,000 of those are undergraduates. So our graduate population is about 1,000 out of the 15,000 students that we have right now. Of our 13,900 undergraduates, just under a quarter came to us as transfer students. So you can see they're an important component of who we are. And another just under 20% came to us as running start students. So especially if you're at the community college level, you have touched about 2 out of every 5 students that come to Western. Uh, Last academic year, we granted almost 3,000 undergraduate degrees, and just under 40% of those undergraduate degrees went to students that came to us as transfer students, and another 21% came to us from running start. So again, a very large segment of the people that are successful at Western came to us through community colleges, transfers, and running starts. Um, you may not know, but we offer 218 undergraduate majors and transfers and running start students. I have the list of the most 5 common majors completed uh, by those transfers and running start students. Psychology is the leader for both. 22% of our transfer students and 10% of our running start students end up majoring in psychology. It is one of our most popular majors on campus. And you can see here, I don't know if it's helpful for me to read the list out loud when you can see the data yourself. Computer science is one that has moved up these lists in the last few years. It's become quite a popular major on our campus, and both transfers, running start, and native first year students have all found computer science more and more than they used to. Uh, so last academic year, we enrolled about 1,300 different transfer students. 61% came from a Washington 2-year public, 10% from a Washington 4-year public. A very, very small number come to us from Washington private institutions, and then a quarter come from outside the state. And so we get, our biggest supply of transfer students really are coming from the 2-year public realm. And this is, just to be clear, not including running start students. And so we get, again, about 3 out of 5 of our transfer students are those 2-year public community college students that come to us. The most common feeder institutions of our transfer students are listed here, and you can see it's a regional, um, uh, mostly a regional group of students that come to us. Whatcom and Skagit are the 2 nearest community college to Western, obviously, and that's where we get most of our community college students. Everett, Bellevue, and Olympic. We get quite a few from them. Western has a program on the peninsulas, and so we're starting to get more transfer students from those community colleges as well. And then from the public four-year students, we get a small number from University of Washington and from Central. About a third of our transfers come with an AA, an AS, or I guess I listed the AA-ANT twice there. Less than half of our transfer students are male, about 45%. About a third of our transfers are first generation, which is a little bit higher than the population of the rest of Western. 42% of our transfers come to us are Pell eligible, which again is a little bit higher than the rest of the Western population. And 25% of our students are students of 25% of transfers are students of color, which is a little bit less than the rest of Western's population. So I've put two graduation rates here, and let me explain a little bit of what you're looking at. The entry year on the x-axis is the year that students started at Western. So our data doesn't go beyond 2020 because we haven't given those students enough time to know if they've graduated yet or not. The blue line is the graduation rate of four-year transfer students. The red line is the six-year graduation rate for students that came to us through Running Start. So I'm a little bit mixing types of students here, but I thought it would be easy to understand. I hope so. Our most recent four-year transfer graduation rate was about 69%. That's the blue line at the far right at 2020. So those were students that started in 2020 as transfer students. Within 4 years, 69% of them graduated from Western. Just so you know, there's not a lot of those 31% of students who didn't graduate. There's not a lot of those left at Western. So that 69% number is going to be pretty stable even as time goes on. Those 31% usually are people that ended up leaving Western and either attended someplace else or did not graduate from any other place. Our graduation rate for Running Start students is a little bit higher. It's about 73%. Is who we graduate about 73% of the Running Start students who started in 2018. You may wonder why we're looking at six-year rates for Running Start and four-year rates for transfer students, and that's an artifact of the federal government and how they require us to report data. So if you just leave in the back of your mind, both numbers are around 70%. An easy way to think about this is we graduate about 70% of the students that come to us as either Running Start or transfer students. I have here the years to graduation by major, and I just picked some of the more common majors that you saw a couple screens ago. And this is the average years that it takes students to graduate from a Western program by some different kind of student characteristics. And so first year, our students that come to us in kind of the traditional freshman admissions process, the first time they've ever entered a four-year university. We have looking at Running Start students, students that transfer to us with an AA, and then students who transfer to us without an AA. And before talking about the different majors, let me just point your attention to the final column, which is all students, regardless of what their major is. The average first-year student takes 4 1/3 years to graduate from Western. The average Running Start student does it in about half a year less, so 3.8 years. The average transfer student with an AA does it in about 2 3/4 years, and the average transfer student without an AA does it in about 3 years. These are actually pretty fast times, especially relative to other public institutions, both in the state and across the US. I did pick some other majors, and you can peruse the majors there. Some go faster, some go slower. I know a lot of people are often interested in kind of what the STEM experience would be for transfer students. Our biology program is usually a pretty rigorous, high credit major program. It takes a lot of credits to graduate from biology at Western, and yet we're still getting um, the average student out fairly quickly. Indeed, not that much slower. Running start students are even faster than the average student in all the other majors. Computer science takes slightly longer, and then you can see what the other random ones that I picked here. I should say also that I'm happy to explore these data with you further, especially if you had a particular question about a major. Again, I'll share my contact information at the end, and feel free to reach out if you have questions about these things. Western does what we call the WELS survey, Western Educational Longitudinal Survey, and we ask students various questions at the time when they enroll at Western. So before they ever step foot on campus, we ask them some questions, and then we follow those students throughout their careers as a Western student. Here I am just showing you some information about how important were the factors in your choosing to attend Western. That's a question that we ask of transfer students, and I ordered the responses in order of those students who said that it was very important to them. Students can choose more than one of these ideas or one of these responses, and so you'll see the sums don't add up to 100%, but they do give us an idea of why transfer students are interested to come to Western. And the most common, which receives a very important answer, is that Western offers a academic program that fits in their schedule. And the second most is that they are very interested in a specific academic program at Western. So we're attracting people that have kind of a specific idea of both what their schedule looks like and what program they are interested in at Western. You can see the remaining ordering of them. A little bit less important to people is that Western has a good academic reputation. I think that should be their highest thing, because we do have a good academic reputation, something we should be proud of. The recreational activities in the area are always a high attractor of students to Western, especially on these snow days when you can go out and go skiing, perhaps. Less important are family or students that are interested in arts and music. Students that wanted to live far away from home doesn't seem to be a reason why people come to Western. Again, you can see here the reasons why students give us for coming to Western. Um, when did students first consider attending Western? And again, this is asked of students that transfer to us, and the modal and median student starts to think about Western after they leave high school. And so I assume this is occurring when they're at their community college or when they're at their transfer. And perhaps people like you are talking to students about Western. And so thank you for that. 60% of our transfer students say that they are interested in Western only after they graduate from high school. We also ask running start students some questions, and to give you an idea of kind of the stuff that we know about running start students, is we do ask them what the highest degree they expect to earn in their lifetime is. And the most common responses are running start students say that they hope to earn a master's degree, followed quickly by people who aren't sure, and then people whose goal is to earn a bachelor's degree. So I always think of this as pretty ambitious academic students, especially through running starts. Students whose goal is to earn a master's degree at the time when they enroll at Western means that they have some idea of what their future might hold, and are embarking in their Western journey with the goal of getting a master's. We do ask students how difficult certain tasks are that they could expect in the coming fall. And remember, we're asking this before they set foot on campus. And so running start students, kind of the thing that they claim is most going to be difficult for them is preparing and presenting work in front of a class, which I suppose is a little bit like preparing and presenting in front of a group of transfer advisors, also something that gets some people very nervous. Uh, Students seem much less worried about managing finances. Getting good grades is not something that Running Start students are worried about when they come to us. I'm encouraged by both of those things because we do know it's difficult for students, especially to manage their finances. When we look at reasons students give us for why they leave Western, often they give us reasons that are financial in nature, and so I'm a little uncertain how to take this data when they seem to be less worried about finances, and yet those students that do leave had financial difficulty. Um,
Hey,
so I,
John,
yes, please.
could I interrupt you for just a second? We do
I
have
would
a
love
good,
to.
okay,
Yeah.
take a break. We have a question in the Q&A section. Kelly Bashaw has a question, says, is there data to show that if a student earns an AST degree versus the DTA, for example, biology, how long does it take them to earn a BS degree?
Yes, we have that data, and sadly, I don't have it prepared for you. Was this from Kelly? Is that right?
Yeah.
Kelly, in my very next slide, here is contact information. I would be more than happy to grab that data for you and let you know what the results are. So if I could ask you, Kelly, just so I don't forget it because I'm on the spot presenting right now, if you want to send me an email at that email address, I'd be more than happy to track it down and let you know what the results are.
John,
Thank you.
alternatively, if you send it to me, I can send it to everybody and then everyone will have that information.
Perfect. I love it. So that is really what I have to present. I am more than happy to answer additional questions. I'll leave this up if you're thinking about more questions, and if not, I really appreciated the time to get to share with you.
So please put questions in the chat if you have them for John or for any of us right now. Thank you, John, for being here.
You bet.
We appreciate your time and all your helpful information.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. So this sounds like a good time to be able to take a break. We could step away from our computers, grab something to eat. We do ask that you come back a little bit before 11. We're going to start